So I'm standing here with Patrick Grace, who's our resident E36 expert and connoisseur. You have how many of them now?
At least 4, if not more than that. I don't know. I haven't checked the backyard.
4 plus the couple of halves and et cetera. So yeah. Patrick's an expert, and we've got a lot of experience. This is the BMW Club Raffle car, the vintage Raffle that we're running. We're doing the prep work of the car. Of course, we drove this thing back from Houston, and this was previously owned by a couple of club members, most recently James Walker Jr. and his son, one of our drivers on the race team. So we know a lot of history on this car. We got just this massive stack of service records that we've dug through. We have 1,000+ miles on it ourselves, so we have good experience with what the car does, where it needs a little bit of love, and we've kind of piled over it in the shop and taken some notes. But now we need to refine exactly what those notes mean, what they translate to into parts. And so with Patrick's help, because that's what he does, we're going to run through here and go over some of this stuff, and we'll make that list and figure out exactly what we're doing as we turn this car around and get it ready for its new owner. Pat, you had a couple of questions. Let's see, valve cover, gasket, tensioner crush washer. So that was
so they said
right side of engine.
Yeah.
And we can of course go up on the lift if needed on this. That's probably going to be where we look at this, right?
Yeah, it looks like the tensioner crush gasket is dry, and the AC compressor doesn't have any fluid on it, so I'm going to go with it's more than likely a valve cover gasket.
Okay.
So we can get that.
So we'll get this up and peek at it. So this thing does have that aluminum thermostat housing.
Yep.
So that's a good thing. That means it's seen some love. Fan clutch, a little bit rusty. I don't know if that tells us how long it's been since that thing's been off.
Possibly.
Kind of what we're looking for here is if the water pump has ever been replaced.
And the water pump's sharing a little bit of rust with it, but it does look decently new.
So we'll run through that and decide what we're doing.
And it doesn't look like it's got a gold anodization to it, so it's not a Stewart.
Okay. Copy that.
It's more of a gray color.
So we may upgrade that pump anyway, because water pumps are a thing on these cars. So, yep. Let's see, throttle body boot. So it does, well, first of all, that's a nice and fairly new throttle body boot, so that wasn't in the maintenance records, but clearly that's been done. It's still got the ASC plus T. So that traction control, we can pick up some power by getting rid of that, but that's not really what the scope is of this project. So we're going to leave that on there and call the throttle body boot good.
Cool.
When we're thinking about hoses,
notice this doesn't look amazing.
Yeah, a cracked cover there. I think we know that it's missing a cover on the bottom. So you have a list that you're working on. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and add that cosmetic cover. But when you open the hood in this thing, you want it to present properly, which, you know, we oohed and awed as soon as the hood came up, but then you see these little things, so we can certainly address that. Now, these headlights are, what is that?
They're Bosch.
Bosch. So that's going to stay a Bosch.
Yeah, and the Euro Bosch are currently back ordered from our importer.
So these Euro headlights, first of all, the U.S. headlights kind of were terrible.
Oh, they suck.
Yeah. Even if high beam, you can hardly see where you're going, especially in modern terms where you're used to seeing where you're going with HIDs and so forth. So the Euro headlights were the standard upgrade. This one's been done. This one has had a little bit of an incident. James told me about this. Just it got dinked. The headlight's still good, but the housing has been repaired. So I think what we're going to do is just love on that repair a little bit and make that thing look a little cleaner, because the headlights work perfectly, and these things are not only ridiculously expensive, they're almost unobtainium these days. So
I think we've been trying to get some for a year. Yeah,
so. we have the ZKWs in stock, yeah. But the Bosch is really hard to get. So like a lot of things on these older cars, you make the best with what you got or what's available. So we'll certainly do that. Man, that's yellowed paint, and this, I mean, obviously this has got some pits in it and has a respray. I think we're just going to go with a whole new front bumper cover and painted factory correct white, because it's going to be easier to go with a new piece than it is to try to get the body shop to do a full prep on what may or may not even be the original piece on this. This thing has the stock rubber line, so we're
doing that.
We're gonna do some stainless brake lines on this car. We know it has new brakes on it. James Walker purchased them from BimmerWorld. A little bit of rust, but that's just from the car sitting. But there's a little bit of a vibration on this car under braking. We think that it's the front tie rods and control arms, which who knows when those have been replaced, and the front control arm bushings. So we're upgrading tie rods, control arms with Mila parts. We're putting track cabs on it. Even though this is not a Focus track car, those track cabs add minimal NVH, if any at all, and it's just the right solution, and it's the right solution for so many environments, whether it be street or track, and that's what we're going with. This car needs to be capable of doing anything pleasantly. So nice daily driver, not frustrating, not vibrating, but also go to the track and beat on it a little bit. And I think that's going to be needed up there. So, and then we'll get back to the brakes. We'll decide if our vibration's gone away, if it was that the worn out front suspension. Otherwise, we'll replace brakes on the car. All right. So this is that under panel piece that's missing. We have a replacement coming for that. We have some E36 collectors around here, so we have some of these parts laying around, and grateful. We also had a glove box issue. Turns out Pat has a great car with a glove box available, so appreciate you bringing that in. Factory X-Brace. Are those findable these days?
Yeah, we sell them. They're just like $400 or $500.
That's crazy. So back in the day, then this had to be like late 90s, early 2000s. I remember buying, early in the days of BimmerWorld, buying like 300 of these things, and I bought them for $60-some a piece as they were getting closed out.
Nice.
And so all of our friends had X-Braces back then. Then they were not available for a while, which is crazy because they closed them out, and then they didn't have any to sell, and everybody still wanted them. So it's nice to know they're still available, but gosh, the prices on E36 stuff is crazy, but this one already has one, so good for us.
Yeah.
So look at the oil. Tell me, oh, this is that weird thing. Yeah, so you can see the block looks like it has a little bit of rust. There's, it looks nice and black up top.
And then some seepage there.
Yeah, but where is that seepage coming from?
That's a great question. And is it possible that somebody cleaned the cylinder head?
I think it's absolutely possible somebody cleaned and even painted this.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm seeing some of that black on the head itself. And then maybe they painted it at some point and then cleaned it after the fact, and that's why we're seeing like some nice black stuff and then some a little bit rusty looking block further down. Maybe that's where the oil had covered it.
They had definitely taken these off. These are much smaller bolts in factory.
Copy that.
They're supposed to be M10s. They look like M6s or M8s.
Yeah, I think somebody's gotten under there with paint and done a little under hood cosmetic work. So I'm not seeing any issues. This thing is dry as a bone. It's not leaking. I think it should get a valve cover gasket just because.
Agreed.
Guibo looks good. Oh, Guibo looks brand new. This trans mounts.
That's just the seam from where they're injected.
Yeah, otherwise that looks nice and the rubber looks good. But I think we talked about doing new trans mounts anyway, engine and trans mounts.
The Mila HD ones, yeah.
Yeah, Mila HD. Mila HD is better than stock, engineered to be better than the stock part, and they do a great job. Have a extended warranty. It's 2-year, 4-year,
2 years.
2-year warranty on Mila HD stuff, but that stuff just it is better than stock, and it lasts super well. So we don't really even worry about that. And while these engine mounts look certainly replaced,
Compressed.
a little compressed and a little cracked on the rubber, so we will.
No, that might be the same, but definitely some cracking there.
Yeah, a little bit of cracking, so we'll definitely put Mila HD on there. We had drop links for the sway bars. Was that on our list?
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, the boots are torn down here.
Yeah, sway bar link boots are torn, so we'll get replacements on that.
We should probably have the wear sensor in the caliper too.
Yeah, that's one of those tricks. You take out the wear sensor for your brakes just because it doesn't set off that annoying light when your brakes wear, especially if you're an enthusiast and you look at your brakes and replace your brakes often. But this thing has new pads on it, and we can make sure the sensors are in there. And the sensor is there, it just needs to be plugged into the brake, which has a slot for it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, some pads don't have the slot for that. You know, a race pad might not have the slot for that, but these certainly do. So Mila HD on the front sway links. You're on that, right, Pat?
Yep.
So this is
It's a Sachs.
Sachs with a
Destroyed bump stop.
destroyed bump stop.
Meaning it's probably been a little worn out for a while.
Yeah,
that looks like
fair.
a factory type rear shock mount.
Okay.
It's a stamped steel deal.
So Sachs shocks, and this thing has a super old set of Dynon springs from back when Steve Dynon owned and operated the company. Works pretty well. Like the suspension on this car feels good, you know, even with a shock that's we think's a little blown. I don't know if I can get the leverage on it here. Yeah, there's like an inch of free play that's not controlled by the damper. So we're going to go ahead and do the rear shocks, get new bump stops on them, get what kind of rear shock mount? There's like
We can go Mila HD, we can go PowerFlex.
you know what? This car has PowerFlex on it kind of throughout. So it's going to get that upgraded lifetime warranty PowerFlex rear shock mount also, and I think that's just going to be a nice thing. Sachs shocks in the rear, again, they felt good, and the suspension feels good. I don't want to induce harshness with a performance shock or a high gas pressure shock, so I think that's appropriate. We're going to do a little work on the rear suspension here. It's got some of that old, you know, kind of period correct, although that's not really a term used for bushings, but period correct rear subframe bushings, which is like the red urethane that can be squeaky and harsh and whatnot. So I think while we're doing the work here, we'll go ahead and swap those out. It's stock diff mounts, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Stock
definitely the rear.
rears and stock in the front. So again, while the subframe's out, we're going to go ahead and do PowerFlex diff mounts as well. We talked about wheel bearings on this car, and they're not in the service records. They've been done. You can see that the axle's been beat on a little bit, and clearly somebody's had the nut off. The rear nut's not staked properly, which you would normally, if you're replacing the wheel bearings, you know, run the nut off, you push the axle back, replace your bearing, pull it back in, and then you'd stake that nut so that it engages, and there's no risk of it coming loose. So we're gonna get back in there. We have to put the nut on properly anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and do rear wheel bearings, front hubs. Let's just go ahead and make it so this thing is pretty perfect.
Bulletproof.
As perfect as we can for new owner.
I feel like no question of it, but definitely worth mentioning, hitting a Mila fuel filter.
Copy that. So yeah, fuel filter, go ahead and throw that on the list. And
Yep. And then, although I see paint marks of someone having been in the transmission, run some D4 ATF in there.
yeah, this thing's gonna get full redline fluids throughout. The diff's gonna be out, the training's gonna be out because we're doing a clutch. It just has this weird high engagement that it's had for the last two owners. It's been a discussion point, so Clutch Masters is gonna work with us on a new clutch. I think we're gonna retain the factory dual mass flywheel. They don't rattle when you're idling, it's hot, the AC's on. But, you know, there are higher performance, lightweight options, which is what we're accustomed to, but that's what we're going to use on this car, the dual mass flywheel and a clutch appropriate for that. And then Clutch Masters has a new clutch master cylinder that solves some problems as well. So we're going to come out with, we're going to put that on the car. We're going to get one of those kind of hot off the presses from them.
So another thing that I just noticed is they have the clutch delay valve.
A clutch delay valve, though, we feel pretty good about with a non-performance clutch flywheel setup.
Yeah, but it's a little bit less direct.
Leave it in, take it out.
I would take it out. I feel like knowing where the clutch engagement is a nice thing to have, regardless of if it's a performance car or not.
All right. So, and we still do have the damping from the factory dual mass flywheel, so that's fine. And while we're in there, go ahead and do a clutch line on it as well.
Clutch line and a clutch stop.
And a clutch stop. These things have a clutch stop from the factory, but
That big.
yeah, it's a little bit small and you know, it doesn't have the range of adjustment, so we're going to go ahead and put a BimmerWorld clutch stop on it as well. All right. Quick peek in the trunk, and then we'll get to work. Oh, you talked about filters. One other thing we're going to do is a cabin filter on this thing, and that's part of just that general maintenance. We do have some noise from the HVAC blower, and this car wasn't in storage. I'm not going to assume that it's like a 10-year mouse nest in there, but it could be. We'll see.
Could also be a leaf.
Could be a leaf.
Could be a bad bearing in the blower.
Yeah, so we're going to dig into that. While we're doing that cabin replacement, we're going to look at the motor itself, and then if nothing else, we'll replace that motor, so that'll be quiet and pleasant when you have that thing cranked on high, which certainly in the Texas heat in the summer, when we drove this thing, we did. So we've got kind of an aftermarket parking brake handle. We're going to look and see what factory options we have. May replace that. I'm not sure. Again, it's personal taste. My personal taste is something a little more factory. We have a sagging glove box. Patrick had a non-sagging glove box.
I did.
Yeah, it's one of those challenges. Those things come unglued. The face comes unglued. In fact, the previous glove box from this car is in the trunk. So that's already a replacement, but we're going to get this thing now out of the Texas and Midwest heat and put another glove box in there with a properly mounted cover.
Might even see if I have gray floor mats.
Yeah, gray floor mats, are those available anymore?
They're not available anymore, but if we can find them in my basement, then might swap them.
So we might be using some new old stock or slightly used old stock for this thing. E36 M3 floor mats, black only these days. They came in a range of colors, brown, gray, etc. Gray is appropriate for this car, but it has new black ones. Either way, we're going to include those to the previous or to the new owner. And this one has the old bolt.
Is the flip-flop included?
Oh, flip-flop. Yeah, that's. I think that's the shop did that for me. All right, and then minor cosmetic things. This thing does have Euro tail lights. It's had a bulb replacement. This side's clear, this side's yellow. We're going to go ahead and get that shored up. Optima's going to be providing a new battery for this thing, which without taking the cover off, but in a modern car, it's just a twist turn fastener, but in this car, it takes a bolt.
Does it?
It does.
Or give me just a second.
Are you assuming we can do that? Ah. That's why we bring Pat along. He's the E36 guy. So this has an Optima 35R. No, a 3478. So this is a...
with side posts too.
Yeah.
I think that's a Mustang fitment.
So I don't know how this, this is not an Optima we sold, which is cool, because Optima for a long time has been the battery of choice for an enthusiast. And a yellow top is great for a car that depletes regularly, one that's stored. You still need to maintain it, and ideally you don't let it deplete. You put it on a maintainer. By the way, we're going to be including an Optima maintainer with the car. But this is an older battery. I assume the date's hidden, but I know that this didn't come through James Walker's ownership, so I know it's an older battery, and it's just kind of put in there with a homemade mounting solution. So we're going to replace that with a newer version of an Optima, an H6, which is a European factory direct fit size for this, and then we're going to go ahead and replace that that mount with the factory mount.
Yep.
As BMW intended. It looks like we've already got the that's the extended bolt, so we just need the little cleat. So,
sweet.
We do sell those D35Rs and 51 or D35s, 51Rs with a different mounting kit if you want something lighter weight. But again, for the scope of this car, it should have that. To me, it should have the factory kind of battery in there, robust. We're not trying to save 10, 15 pounds in the back with a lightweight battery. So, Optima yellow top DH6 going in. Factory full-size spare, and that's one of the prettiest E36 wheels that looks like it's been absolutely untouched. So
perfect.
Look at that.
DS2. What's the date code on the tire?
I don't know. Funny. See cracks in the sidewall already. 17. Nice. So
Only
that's
8 years old.
Vintage tire. we'll be taking one of the, yeah, you can already see some dry rotting. Weird. If you're going to have a spare tire, you got to actually maintain your spare and have it ready to actually run if you plan to use it. So we're going to take the vintage tire off. We're going to put one of the tires that's currently on the car on it, or just a matched set of Continentals all around, including the spare. I think that's probably the way to go.
That'd be nice.
Continental, just amazing wet weather performance, and of course their dry handling is fantastic as well. But they are a sponsor of BMW Club of America and support the people that support you. So we'll be putting the Continentals on this car, including the spare. All right, pop that puppy back in there. And then I think it's a matter of getting to work on the computer, coming up with a big pile of parts to deliver to the shop. We've got to answer a couple other questions, which we'll do so along the way, but otherwise, time to get working on the car. Pat, thanks. Good job.
Ooh, complete toolkit.
All right, full toolkit. So rare.